Hey team, welcome to Monday Morning Pearls. Before we get into the pearl, want to point you towards our podcast. You can find it at spanthechasm.com/podcast. Podcast series built by conversations with expert senior sales leaders, key success habits, things teams are doing well, areas where they've made mistakes that we can all learn from. The whole point of this is to help you sell better today. Now on to the pearl. All right, team, it is Monday Morning Pearl time, and we are continuing our series on recession-proofing your sales teams. Super fired up about it. We've had some great topics so far. Yet another one that's going to really matter in this downturn. Ken, today it's all about staying within your ideal client profile. So first, let's make no assumptions. Talk to me about ideal client profile.
Oh my gosh, ideal client profile is so important because it's your particular customer. It's not just a buyer persona, but it is literally all the segments and the things. It's everything from revenue to personality to the problems and the pains and the things that they're going through. The tighter we can get our ideal client profile, the tighter we can make use cases, the tighter we can pull this together, and the value just jumps through the phone at them when we're having conversations about selling our services.
Let's personalize this a little bit because it's easy for us to sound a little bit professorial and lectury. Lectury is a word. At Span the Chasm, what is our experience with when we're inside of our ICP and when we are outside of our ICP?
You had to hurt me.
This, by the way, I am picking an emotional scab.
Yeah, so you had to hurt me. So here's the deal. When we go outside of our ideal client profile, I got to be honest. We're there because we are trying to serve, and it's somebody who has something that we can help with. Downside is they are not what we are rock solid, fantastic, and awesome at. And ultimately, here's the real issue. It becomes a less than desirable experience for the client, not to mention your internal team.
Yeah. Well, and imagine how it would feel. Where this bad habit comes home to roost is not necessarily when times are good because you can cheat a little bit. But imagine what happens when the scrutiny turns up, the referrals look different, deeper inspection, and 40% of your deals start to evaporate because you've been hunting outside of your ICP. How's that going to feel?
Yeah, that's going to feel miserable. Now think about it. Why would 40% disappear? Well, it's because they had some money to spend around, and now the CFO and the board are saying, tighten up some. And so they say, well, this use case, this particular thing, the product, the service we were going to buy, we don't really see the ROI. And guess what? They're right.
Yeah, and in these sort of use cases that we kind of can do, they fall apart under scrutiny. It's interesting too, in this time I find the referral calls take a new level of intensity. It's not like, hey, these guys are pretty good. Tell me specifically why this makes sense. And if you're a big hospital system getting a referral call to a bowling alley, the use cases aren't going to align.
Right. And I think ultimately you can serve more. As a company, you can generally charge more because your ROI is higher. You're able to impact those clients in a much more useful and meaningful way. And so those are some of the reasons you want to stay into it. But okay, so how are we going to do this? So what are some things we can think about to make sure that we stay within our ICP?
Well, one of them is going to reflect, I think last week we talked about discipline. So one of the things we got to make sure here, or this will come home to roost, we need to make sure that our alignment in our ICP is tight. That means that delusional person that we brush teeth with in the mirror every morning that lies to us, we need to challenge that person and say, am I hunting where my vertical, my personas, my use cases are really going to come to life, or am I kind of crazy?
Yeah, that's great. I love this. There's one question that I think actually resonates, or I don't know, resonates with me. So may not resonate with anyone else. I don't know. But I like to look at things this way. And I say, okay, does the client have a specific problem that I am uniquely qualified to solve? And uniquely is the issue because, right, if they've got a problem I'm generally qualified to solve, can I help them? Maybe. Is there a chance that they're not going to get the ROI that they want, that they're not going to get the experience they want? Probably.
Well, and if you can probably solve it fairly well, that means that 10 other people can too, and hello, knife fight. Yeah. You're chasing the dollar to the bottom with that one very, very quickly.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so from that perspective, I mean, what do you think it would feel like if you and your team were hunting where you could win with a high level of efficiency and effectiveness, where you knew going in that you were in the catbird seat, that you knew because you were so tightly aligned and that you had use cases and that you had referrals and that you had all of these things that aligned around you are specifically qualified, uniquely qualified to solve their problems. I mean, how do you think that's going to feel when everybody else is squandering and saying, oh, we can't sell anything, and you and your team improve your closing rates from 30 to 40 to 50%?
Well, here's the beauty of that model. If you look at early stage, mid stage, late stage, if you are in your ICP, you're consuming less resources, so you can go after more deals. You're going to close your deals better. And because of that's happening in this time, land that you grab during a downturn, you keep after the downturn.
Oh, it's ridiculous. We've talked about that. Bain did a study, and it's not just sales, right? You pick up all these extra accounts, but here's the really cool thing in the Bain study was you actually increased profitability 14% year over year for 10 years coming out of the bottom of a recession.
Winning now is a huge separator for the next decade. So stay within your ICP, because if you're outside your ICP, you're spending resources and not winning the deals, you're not making up that land grab.
Yeah, that's 100% true. So stay within your ICP, start moving to it, better define it, make sure that you're clear about it. But I can tell you this, these are just some of the things that we think will absolutely be paramount of importance when you go forward and we hit a recession. They're things that are near and dear to our heart on how we help sales teams move forward. So we'll look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Monday Morning Pearls. But check us out on all our social media. Reach out if there's anything that we can do or any conversation that you want to have. See you soon.